This will be just a quick video showing the bracket that I made, the adjusting bracket for this alternator. And although at first, if you're not really familiar with alternators, this actually might look like a common alternator, but this is actually a brushless alternator. So this will also be a video on probably the first truck alternator ever put on a car. I've never heard or seen a brushless alternator made for a car. This is made for a truck, and I happen to have it on the other model on the International there, and so I decided to put one on the Rambler. So I started out with that piece of round bar there, and then I already had the bracket from before. I was using it to adjust the generator. I had the generator on before, and I have that on the previous video. But anyways, I did the threads on it, the female threads. Then I welded another piece of this thinner, slightly thinner round bar, and then I had to weld a bolt at the end, and then I've got the same clevis. And I also had to make another mount for it at the bottom. You can't really see it now because I've got the alternator in the way, but I just thought this would be cool. And there's the pulley is also much more heavy duty. It's a steel pulley, and it's got that chamfer what do you call it, that tapered hole on it. And this is just held on by torque. There's no key, which is pretty cool, like no key slot. That's just held on, the pulley's held on by that nut there. I just torqued it with tightened it with the torque. An impact gun actually, but I didn't overkill it, so it'll be fine. It's actually supposed to be tightened to about 80 foot-pounds, which is quite a bit. It says there on the fan part. You won't be able to see it as well. It does take quite a bit of time, probably almost a day's worth of work to make these parts. This and the other one. So yeah, it's actually taken me about a day. But again, this is one of the higher end alternators. It's got no brushes in it, and that's one of the reasons why I got it. And it's just one wire. It's a very simple installation. But the one wire comes from here, and that goes straight to the positive terminal on the battery. There's no voltage regulator, no adjustments. You just put it in, connect it to the battery. Actually, you might have to polarize it, but the guy that sold it to me, he's a rebuilder, and he said that all you need is, usually most of the times, you just need to hit the accelerator to rev up, and then it excites the coil or something like that, the field. I will be honest with you, I'm not familiar at all with how these alternators work, but they're a lot more expensive, and I kind of like the fact that they're made for trucks, so usually you have durability in mind. You can obviously see that's much more heavy duty. It's bigger, and no closed, no open parts here like a normal alternator. So it does seem like a much more reliable and heavy duty unit, and hopefully something that I will never have to replace. Usually the big companies put these kinds of alternators on trucks, just so that they don't have to see. With trucks, it's a different mentality than cars. I've said this before, but they don't usually want to keep stopping and changing parts. They just want more reliability, because when they have a truck that's stopped, it's losing money, right? With cars, So another reason that I put this in is, like I said, I'm going to be honest with you, there's only one thing that I haven't fully mastered in a classic car, and that's the voltage regulator. I'll probably leave that for another video, but I had this alternator. It's a convenient solution for anyone, and actually being this simple to install, I mean, like, I had to make the brackets this time, right? But if I ever have to replace it, I won't have to make the bracket again. So excluding that, I still would have paid around the same or less for a replacement. What normal normal people spend on replacing an alternator in their cars. So at least it's the same price, or probably less, right? Of course, I'm not including my labor really, but even so, it would still be pretty close. So I thought that would be fun. A truck alternator in a car, and the bracket for it as well.